Some changes don't look like progress. They look like nothing, or even may look like things are getting worse. You lose energy. You feel less motivated. Things that used to excite you don't land the same way. And it's easy to start thinking, something's wrong with me. But what if that's not what's happening? What if this stage is actually part of the change? In this video, I want to show you the quiet stage of change nobody talks about and why it can feel like you're losing yourself when something deeper is actually reorganizing. There's a moment that happens to a lot of people who have been holding everything together for a long time. On the outside, nothing dramatic has changed. You're still showing up, still doing what needs to be done, still functioning. But inside, something feels different, flat, heavy, unclear. You sit down to do something you used to handle easily, and it takes more effort than it should. You start questioning things you never questioned before: your work, your relationships, even yourself. And because there's no clear reason, your mind tries to explain it. Maybe I'm tired. Maybe I'm losing discipline. Maybe I need to push harder. So you try. You tighten things up. You push through. You try to get back to how you were before. But it doesn't really work. And that's the part that starts to scare people because the strategies that used to work stop working. This is the stage most people misunderstand because it doesn't look like growth. It looks like a loss of capacity. But what's often happening here is that something old is no longer being fueled in the same way. The drive that carried you before, the pressure, the constant self demand, it starts to weaken. Not because you become weaker, but because your system can't run on that anymore. A lot of high functioning people are powered by something very specific, kind of internal pressure. I have to handle this. I can't drop the ball. I need to stay on top of everything. And for a long time, it works. It creates structure, it creates consistency, it creates results. But it also comes at a cost because it's not neutral energy that you're using. It's effortful, it's controlled, it's tight. And eventually, something in you starts to resist that. Not loudly, usually quietly. So instead of pushing harder, your system starts pulling back. Your energy drops, your motivation softens, things slow down. And from the outside, it looks like you're losing momentum. From the inside, something else is happening. The way you were operating is starting to unwind. This is the quiet stage where the old way is no longer fully available, but the new way hasn't yet stabilized. And that in between space can feel like nothing or even like regression because you don't have the same drive and you also don't have clarity yet. So you end up in this strange place where you can't go back, but you don't know how to yet move forward. And this is where most people turn on themselves. They assume they're doing something wrong. So they try to fix it, push through it, optimize it, get rid of it. But this stage is not something to override, it's something to understand. Because if you look closely, there's usually something very specific happening underneath. You're starting to feel things you used to override. You're noticing misalignment you used to ignore. You're less willing to force yourself through things that don't feel right, even if you can't fully explain why. And that feeling, it can feel disorienting because the identity you've relied on, the one who handles everything, the one who pushes through, the one who keeps going no matter what, doesn't work the same way anymore. But that doesn't mean you're breaking. It means you're no longer being driven the same way. And here's the part that most people don't see. This stage is not the end of your capacity, it's the end of forcing. Something more accurate is trying to come online, but it doesn't run on pressure. It doesn't run on urgency. It doesn't run on just push through. And because of that, it feels unfamiliar at first, slower, quieter, less intense, and also more honest. The problem is, if you misread this stage, you'll try to go back. You'll try to restart that old engine. And that's where people get stuck. Because they end up fighting the very shift that's happening, that needs to happen. So instead of asking, how do I get back to how I was? A more useful question may be, what is no longer working that I've been trying to keep alive? Because this stage is not asking you to collapse. It's asking you to stop operating in a way that no longer fits, that is no longer aligned. And that takes a different kind of attention, not more force, more honesty. You might notice where you're overriding yourself, where you're saying yes when something feels off, where you're still trying to meet an old version of yourself. Now, the thing is, you don't need to fix it immediately. It's more important to see it clearly. Because clarity is what allows the next phase to form. And this next phase doesn't come from pushing harder, it comes from being more aligned with what's actually true for you now. But that only becomes available if you don't rush this part. So if you're in this stage where things feel quieter, slower, maybe unclear, and you're wondering what's wrong with you, know that nothing is wrong with you. You may just be in the part of change that nobody talks about. If you want to understand this process more clearly, I've created other videos in this series that walk through what's actually happening beneath the surface, step by step. You can continue there when you're ready.